it does feel like this Winthrop team has really locked things in the last couple of weeks. Whereas, and we've seen this before, I don't want to just like throw out into the universe this like giant caster curse, but teams that qualify in the first week of opportunity to qualify sometimes can come out a little slow. So we'll see if Maryville can try to stave that off. Of course, they're very active in their competitive schedule as a collegiate squad. So we'll see what they're able to cook as Winthrop will be on the opening defense and just a little pistol feel out over towards B, but nothing major.
Allowed some time to develop, much like the group stage has. And 100% agreed, not to curse it, but especially in the previous stage, you did see some, you know, rust coming off of the teams that had a bit of a longer break, despite the fact that they were playing in off-season matches.
Toxins going up.
And Infiltrator has definitely stepped into that role as that win condition purely and fully. Rest of Winthrop, can they step up as well to meet this threat that has been pretty easily decimating just about every other team in front of them?
Well, a little bit of information gathering there for Maryville. Essentially allowed to happen, though, by Winthrop. Smoke will cover the close cut onto A, forcing Maryville to have to make their way over towards double. The 1v1 at the middle of the map. A little bit of damage onto Caloric, but nothing crazy. And meanwhile, the focus has to turn back, so really good for Caloric to keep their life. Rents, Caloric, follow up, find a couple of eliminations. So yeah, perfect stuff. Spike can now be planted in a 5v3.
Nice slow game of follow the leader being played to start things out. Winthrop tried to interrupt it at the point that Spike is being dropped, but you got more than enough resources to toss at the problem. From there, Winthrop forced to file in on the defensive end, and from there, it's completely toast. It's a nicely orchestrated pistol round coming up from Maryville, very slowly paced, but still ultimately going for the safest and strongest option, that A pinch through the mid presence that you're able to slowly wean out. And from there, it's total funnel for Winthrop University as Governor will finalize the pack here on this Sheriff, and we'll get away with one. But Maryville already showing that they are not slacking, they are not sleeping at the wheel, they are here to play and get to that top 6 out the gate.
And just good discipline, right? Like Caloric in trouble. Like if he falls there, that's a 4-man hit through elbow that I think Winthrop are probably able to get a pretty solid read on. Plus it makes that post plant just so unstable with the potential of a flank through mid. So really good opening first bloods coming through. Giza doing a lot of the legwork while they're in the site on the plant. And then really the only thing to talk about for Winthrop is they avoid the flawless. Not that it matters too much because the Sheriff is collected. And Maryville can get to work now with the Guardian, Phantom, Bulldog, couple of pistols. And Giza is, some days it just be like that, you know what I mean? Just timing right to the smoke, good for one, almost two. Infiltrator will show themselves, and this is just one of those rundowns, see if we can grab a weapon. And nope, not so fast, everything backs off.
First case of many of why the hell nots we'll see today, coming out from Maryville to start. Again, the experimentation you're allowed to work with at this stage, they're gonna take that and run with it as long as they can. Maybe knock on this front door again, see if they can inch away at what utility is left. Winthrop's already been willing to drain too much, and again, already with 4 players still standing the previous rounds, potential to shatter on this opening, but Maryville, they will be able to fully bluster through.
Yeah, pretty casual. The big news, though, for Maryville is that this could be a flawless round, which means it would be a true bonus if they decide to hold on to the pistols. And yep, Caloric, wow, already? Okay.
Jeez.
You know, in other games, they say you never shoot bodies before the fat lady sings, but that's a round 2 body shot. No love lost here.
So at this point, Winthrop, unfortunately, just starting with the pistol, having to play with that individuality, not able to cut the right target down. Wondering how the packs are going to end up aligning when they actually care about what guns they have held up. Because this A-Link is really screwy with the way that Renz pushes it. As the desk put well, he's not necessarily a win condition. He's more just like the pinprick, the first mortar tossed. That opens up the field. Tough to come back from here on Corrode if it's opened up.
Well, one thing, of course, that we know is that Governor's going to pull out Node wherever possible. He's a still first blood. Infiltrator following up, able to get blessed with a second headshot to turn this into a numbers advantage for Winthrop. But Maryville still have the brute force of their bonus weapons still in play here for this 3v4, especially with Infiltrator just on 1 point of health, essentially. Moves is also low, but that may determine the round right there, and it will. Governor getting to work with the Ode Nadugo Bird, though. Infiltrator with 3, and we're really close to starting to see some of our early ultimates come together.
Yeah, just playing that sequential defense to the letter, and Winthrop University able to allocate each other to the proper angles to make sure that you didn't have to lose the lower health pools earlier on in those follow-up fights. So already good prio coming out from Winthrop University, good head on their shoulders, despite how fiery a start Maryville are trying to get going here on the attack, clearly trying to win a foot race first in order to gain ultimate presence on the site and just dominate from there. That can work pretty well with the level that Maryville plays at.
Oh, here we go. Oh, Ali just able to scout out Renz while he was in a mad sprint. So it keeps their life. 5v5 will continue into the first full gun round. Winthrop really kind of putting together a line of scrimmage that's right at the front of every single choke point, especially with these two Razor Vines in place. So you got a 2-2-1 stack, but most importantly, Moobs does have his wall to play off of. Same can be said for Ali over at B, which means, yeah, this is what you would figure. A lot of the attention is going to go over towards mid. The Aldrin won't see anything, and an opportunity for Winthrop to make a decision. Do we push up, or do we just stack one of these two sites?
You just got to dynamicize these boundaries, keep pulling and pulling and pulling back so you still have some ground to hold on to and fight with. That's what makes this map so fun and tough to defend, is you just have to keep backing out. Ollie, first line of defense.
Yeah, think about that little fake for Maryville over towards A as the recon bolt reveals the player over towards B. So you got a Prowler, you got a little bit of extra utility out of the fade for Maryville, but it doesn't really give you much of an indication that this is actually a hit towards A. Even more so, I was going to say, if Moobs can find this first blood, not the case. And what? He's going to find another while being paranoid. Ollie in a bit of trouble will find a little bit of nearsightedness himself. Ange will follow up with the teleport, and Maryville is off to the races. Only a small stumble in the bonus, but this has looked pretty much perfect for Maryville.
I mean, that's a perfect way to just tie this map right back up for yourself after the presence was not fully sold. You just grab the kills anyway. Giza daring to press and then grabbing that second. That's far impossible. Glyph pounding the desk after that. And Ange's paranoia definitely working a little better for the rest of Maryville's push, which they spring that trigger the second they can. They'll find Governor as well, make it a 3-1 game here, and already show the level at which they're able to immediately tip the scales at any given notice.
Some days just Valorant be like that, but Glyph and Moobs 0-7 is not common. That was not at all a storyline for Winthrop in the last couple of weeks of Swiss stage, but this, you're absolutely right. Glyph is sitting there saying, what? Like, there's no way. Yeah. Come on! And then on the flip side, Ange, perfect on his follow-up. So back to a save goes Winthrop, and Maryville a chance to really dominate this first half early.
We'll still see Governor pay early attention to mid here. Interesting to see how many people Winthrop are going to toss at this, especially if Maryville are going to start making pleas to control it, which they will, creeping up on the toxic screen, even tossing a Prowler out nice and early. No A-pinch presence yet. They're just going to cross this smoke. Ange daring to try and challenge Moobs, who is now held up on top.
Now Smokes will embellish most of the middle of the map. A little bit of pre-fire for Maryville. Nothing to be super concerned about, though, for Winthrop. You just have to kind of split this defense around a touch as they're going to wait for Moobs to try to work their way around the back. Again, he's got a Sheriff in hand. See if he's able to find something. Good shock dart. Well, you thought. Zerona actually doesn't take as much damage as I thought they would have. Ange's going to push a little bit further forward, scale deeper, trying to see if they can find more eliminations. His Infiltrator, well, got to make a decision now with this dark cover in your way. Ange is in a pretty perfect spot to get a crossfire set up with this, and that's exactly what they'll set up. Good relay bolt. Nope, doesn't make a difference. It's only a mere aesthetic status effect. Glyph Governor, though, Hunter's Fury going to be called into this, able to find a couple of eliminations, but do we have the time to even get back onto site here?
Yeah.
So much you have to clear, but they're clearing it. Ren's by themselves. Trigger discipline from in the corner, but cannot satisfy as Governor over the top finds the elim, and I don't know where that came from, but Winthrop find their second.
Too close to call at every given moment, but it's a thrifty round that Winthrop University are happy with. That was a great sandwich plan to start. You saw, I really appreciated the start, actually. Ange moving up and then smoking those chokes that he was on top of. I think it wasted a lot of extra time there for Winthrop, having to continuously just inch into whatever wall was there. They weren't completely sure how much was present for it. But in turn, the Hunter's Fury lobbed on top of the Paranoia. As soon as they toss that ulti in, they're able to just pressure those remaining kills out, and then luckily they make quick work of the rest of the crowd.
Unreal stuff. And that's just kind of one of those things that there is no such thing as a unwinnable round for Winthrop. Opening op shot for Infiltrator goes just a bit wide. That'll allow Maryville to assess the threat, and instead, look like they want to go a little bit quicker over towards B. Still, Garden will hit 2, but there is a chance, yep, for Ali to get away, and it does not actually affect them. I thought for maybe a moment it had, not the case. So maybe a chance here for Ali to step up and contest, but not going to happen. Governor going to get a lay of the land and set up the retake attempt, but if every pit now blooms in their way, and that might be about what solves this round here for Maryville 4v2.
A perfect setup for Ange as well in that corner as that Viper's pit goes up. He's getting shrouded as he's fragging away. Harder and harder to counteract. You appreciate what Ali did there as well. Again, playing sequentially. And again, continuing to just press into that pressure point when he could, but only good for the one. And rest is all Ange here. Good Lord. He's on one today to start things out. Just searching for it. Really active, knowing that Giz has already gotten so much control as this singular controller.
Well, a couple of eliminations keeps Maryville on the respect side of this 1v3. Ange will not be able to satisfy every audience member's desire, which is the ace. And we will admire, well, the bloom of the spike explosion, except for Glyph, who falls to it. So 4-2 going to be the count. Maryville still with a very severe advantage. Although, to be fair, their economy is not as really blossomed as you would figure. So still chance here for Winthrop to turn this half around, and they're going to talk about it.
Yeah, as long as you can keep your foot on the neck of Winthrop for this round, Maryville should be able to keep the snowball rolling from here with way more stability. You'll have the overdrive coming in either this round or next. Again, whenever you can sort of pile drive it, but a big investment like that certainly does leave the window open for Winthrop, and they're going to try and run with it. They've already challenged with stacks. They've already played the mid game, just from very far back, that is. And they've already proven that they're able to hold their own on each individual choke when it leads into the site. So Maryville does have to reopen this playbook fully in order to find a way to really breach this second half of their attack. I think that Winthrop have enough of a read to scare Maryville into not necessarily coming in with that same level of aggression. Of course, not with 3 ultimates either.
One enemy remaining.
Well, pretty important set of rounds coming up for Winthrop to see if they can execute off the timeout with exactly what you're saying. They will be the full purchase here, so we'll get our first indication. Does Infiltrator choose to purchase, or are we going to go to the finger guns and something else?
I think we finger gun.
No, maybe.
Whoa.
Could be hard, you know, it's hard to tell. Could be. What I'm trying to say. Operator, possibility of the overdrive. Meanwhile, like mentioned, Maryville is able to full purchase themselves, but money's not as luxurious as you figure. Definitely no trips to San Tropez in their near future.
Standing ahead.
Good reveal.
Really aggressive A pinch here. That's a great spot to stick Infiltrator.
Especially with the extra bonus of the information. You know, when Ward's on the corner, you're going to have a little bit of help from Ali, and that works out nicely. Infiltrator actually going to pull out the lightning, and Cal will watch that just blaze by his ear, and then eventually Giza will fall. Opportunity for more on the corner. A little bait and switch. Actually, headshot does line up, but it must have been through a wall. Maryville are making this competitive, though. I'll tell you that, considering the first pick had come through. 1v2 situation not over yet, especially if Ali misses, but no, not going to happen. Ali good for another, and Winthrop keep us within 1.
Still pretty touch and go, though. You got to say, Winthrop University, they're trying to play into what Maryville want to, it appears. I think both these teams understand that these opening 2 maps are really just going to be a shooting gallery. Who is fully on today? And Winthrop proving that they have, again, the reaction time, that they're locked in, and Infiltrator on this operator. Going to keep on holding on to it after Ali's able to secure it. Maryville, their buy is going to be fractured here. You know, losing those resources does mean a lot for Winthrop to be able to get something going. Again, though, it is inches apart.
Well, quick burst potential onto B. At least it's in the cards for now. Held off largely by this Razor Vines, though. Doesn't stop Ren. Doesn't really care about it. But nice follow-up from Governor. Woo! That's saucy. And now has the Aldrone just to see if this is a confirmation on the hit. It is. And Winthrop are in perfect spots to deal with it. What a set of opener chops, though, from Governor to save that site.
That's a perfect spider's web. And yeah, Governor with that hail of bullets onto the opening line. Maryville not prepared, not able to counter. And it'll tie us up here at 4 with Winthrop now holding all of the cards out of nowhere. The ult economy did not have enough time to reset. for MU. So they're still treading water here, as it'll be a very sparse buy. Winthrop University able to try and go the distance here, hold on to everything, recline, and play for these last 3 rounds.
Well, here we go again.
That's
this time, whoa,
so
okay.
aggressive.
Yeah, but why not? I mean, you get the angle, you just spam it, you've got all the ammunition you could possibly want.
But you're through the screen, though. You become vulnerable. You become one shot.
A touch for sure. So there is a trade, 4v4. That's a bold peek by Renz, and Governor is, I'm sure Mary was like, he's got no, never mind, he's got an operator. Never mind, he's got a freaking showstopper. Like, he's just got everything. Giza follows up, though. That's an opportunity for a weapon collection. That'll work. But Glyph is right there to trade, shuts down the Prowler in the same breath. And just a paranoia to try to set a little bit of distance between him and Verona, pardon me, who will be finished by moves, and then Chloric will fall as well. So how about this? I mean, considering the start for Maryville, Winthrop find themselves up by 1 somehow.
Yeah, this has been very chaotic, and Winthrop playing into the madness almost a little too well that round. But you can see that they're able to kind of wrestle the boat back when people start playing in panic mode. And that paranoia was a good call from Glyph to just split the board and reset things, fully guarantee the round. You're just seeing, everybody in the lobby really test the waters in this opening half of the match. Figure out how much everyone is able to get away with. And it seems the punish game is pretty good from both sides today.
Yeah, it definitely feels that way. I think you're right, though, just kind of going back, and we saw it with the operator through the reveal on that aggressive angle. Winthrop haven't backed off at all throughout the entirety of this half. It's just been, again, like if you were to go back, and I'm going to sound like I'm flip-flopping a touch here, but if you were to go back and tally how Maryville wins some of the opening key rounds, spam through smoke. That's a lot of it. You get damage done on your bonus. Like, there are a lot of things that you just get fortunate because you did your diligence of paying homage to the Valorant gods. So now you find yourself in 3 in a row if you're Winthrop. Timeout should expire here in a moment. And with the operator and the Odin and ultimates, Winthrop have a pretty severe advantage trying to close out this half of their game.
Yeah, Maryville knowing this game, Winthrop playing it better for the moment. And you're wondering how aggressive Infiltrator is going to start getting at this point. Now back at that B door with this operator. Looks like he's going to be, ready to go. Arcros is up too.
Prowler's denied by moves. Hard to say if that op had been seen or not from that. We'll come to find out here in a moment. Is there going to be any sort of, oh my. Whoa! That will work.
Come on!
Yep. That's just like, I don't care about your dark cover. Got a flashlight, easy to see through, no problem. And then Glyph follows up 2v5 in a very pivotal round as Maryville are gonna have to consider just backing off and saving here.
One enemy remaining.
Or not.
Oh my
Spike
gosh.
down B.
Wow.
Just going through the motions for that round, man. An Infiltrator walking up, grabbing that collat. Everybody gets that confidence boost. Everyone just starts walking it down. The game turns to melted butter. Everyone's just flip-flopping around.
Yeah. Well, here's the last chance, Renz. Yeah, an attempt was made. Flawless round for Winthrop, 6-4 the count. And just like that, look at the economy switch. You got Winthrop up major. They can still bring the Odin and the Operator. They still have 2 ultimates. They're getting close to Hunter's Fury. They're about to earn a kitchen sink to throw at Maryville at this point, who are now on Stingers and Sheriffs.
Yeah, they broke we up for sure. Crazy turnaround to start things out here on the defense. And it all comes from Winthrop's just willingness to keep going, to keep moving forward. That really does send so much of this game for both sides, honestly. A confidence game for sure. And again, figuring out what you're going to be able to do in this match and, hell, the rest of the playoffs.
Yeah. Oof. I mean, that's just one of those things that, again, it's just like, Infiltrator's just feeling himself today. We've seen it in a couple of moments. And you have to feel like Maryville's probably like, all right, dark cover down. What do we want to do here, guys? No, like, surely no one's going to push through this. Bang, round over. Patience, though, this time for Maryville. Maybe saying if they can maybe catch someone off guard, which, to be fair, if they all decide to peek through mid, they might. Glyph is still just playing a jump peek, though, so he should be okay. Has help nearby as well. But Steel Garden comes through. Here's the push-up. Glyph has only got a shorty by the look of it, but Governor makes good use of it, even switches back over. Infiltrator shows up to help, and Zerona cannot hit the shot, so
There's
it's
no
just
way.
shorty on shorty. It's like a 2000s T-Pain hit, and you've got a 2v4 situation with Maryville just on a sheriff and the stinger, and Governor's hopping in with an Odin. Yeah, Winthrop's feeling it.
That is such a gamble to take. To try and go for 6-6, and now you're at risk of 8-4.
Last round
After that
in the
Steel
half.
Garden is just a drop in the bucket for Winthrop. Just reset your util cycle, because again, the game was being played so slow up until that point. Winthrop have the timing, they have the reaction time. Once it activates, I mean, how does Governor get away with that?
Yeah, for real.
That is unreal. And I mean, it's given a very easy ticket to 8-4 here if Maryville is not able to utilize this Nightfall to a hellish extent.
Oh, it's interesting. Oh, you still got. Whoa,
Come
okay, never mind.
on, dude,
Yeah,
come
dude.
on.
Yeah, you want to shoot bodies, my guy? I'll show you shooting bodies, my guy. You have to peek this. Like, you just have to find a way to get
You
him off
have
the
to.
single. And, well, I was going to say, the Prowler goes the wrong direction. Infiltrator has a second chance. Doesn't hit. Viper's Pit will take over the B choke point, and everyone else will just funnel over and help out Infiltrator, who has another weapon to play with, and if he gets that, I lose my mind. But instead, Maryville brings this back to a 4v3. Glyph trades it back to even, and will hit them from the shadows and try to help out in the backside of A.
Face your fear.
Appreciate this rotation from you. Again, good recognition of when A becomes weak enough to hit. And they've saved this orb as well to prevent this ult from Glyph from really doing too much. Still got a snake back on the pit as well. You know you have a lot of time for once.
Welcome to my
Have to get this first one, and they do. Okay, safe. Moobs gets that elimination. The Viper's Pit gets countered by Steel Garden, and it puts it into shorties again. So now Glyph trying to work their way around. Giza in the corner, and Glyph's able to find Zerona.
One enemy remaining.
Nice reaction, though, from Giza. Now it's just down to Ali for the 1v2. Hard-pressed, you would think, to separate this one out. But may get a chance to isolate onto Renz here. A little bit of pre-fire. Both players tag. And off the reload. Renz will back over towards at least the near side of the pit. Giza's going to drop a snake bite right on top of the spike, and that will conclude the half. 7-5, but no stranger to fireworks. These two teams squared up evenly.
Yeah, enough to get over the line. Maryville just banging on the door of Infiltrator long enough, and they're barely able to escape with the kill on him. A becomes weak from there after Winthrop went for the lean, and they're able to secure it afterwards. Again, Maryville is just as tuned in, and Infiltrator now on the flip will not be able to play the same way with this operator, so you certainly do feel a little more comfortable, at least for a moment, as Maryville will swap over to the defense. But that being said, now Winthrop just get to execute their vanilla game plan, which is Infiltrator as the win condition, as the tip of the spear that just launches itself into sight.
Let's tally the leaderboard, the scoreboard right now. Again, we've seen Infiltrator do what Infiltrator does, but interestingly enough, Zerona just one elimination in the first half. You don't, again, speaking of things you just don't see all that often.
Yeah, so unlike him.
Yeah. Especially the position that he was playing, too. It's just unlucky situations, it felt like. But now onto the defensive side goes Maryville, looking to get this pistol back and what would likely get us back to a tie game with that. But, and it is a big but, and I cannot lie, Giza is going to find himself in a very sticky spot because it's going to be a 1v4. Owl drone to check. Ollie's creating a ton of noise at A. Help is going to make its way into the site in the face of Zerona, and there's Zerona. A little 2-for-1 special. Giza shuts down the play pretty much largely at B, as Ollie will have to try to finesse the cross back over. Footsteps are there. Nice shots. Renz. Okay, good for the trade. It's a 1v3.
Appreciate Winthrop trying to overwhelm here on the steps, but they tried to trailblaze on backside too, and you haven't cleared the hut. So Zerona got away with way too much time. And again, this is open season, the map. So you get one moment of getting to look at everybody. You get 2 or 3 free kills. Pistol round like this, very consequential.
Yeah.
So a super pivotal start here for Maryville. Again, tremendous discipline, not playing nearly as sequentially as Winthrop did as well. They're just very stalwart and willing to continue duking it out until they fall. But they're also much faster to rotate to each other. The cavalry comes in very quickly on this team.
There.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, like, in terms of what we saw in that first half, like, there is a level of, like, Winthrop just do not care that they're down. They're still going to play forward and play aggressive, but the same can be said for Maryville. Like, both teams happy to challenge in and through the choke points on the map, which there are, of course, many. And we may see that kind of come to fruition here once again. Cloric is just looking for some opening information. Prowler doesn't scout out too much at mid as moves deletes that almost instantaneously. But the big key here is Ange is in the ballpark with this shotgun. And with Cloric helping out, yep, Ange can get a little bit deeper, and that will work. That's just the judge doing judge things. So looks like it's going to be another situation for Maryville starting off the half on about as good of a foot as you could possibly expect.
Yeah, that's a tough fight for Winthrop to take. The toxic screen, you saw them generate a good deal of space and pressure, but couldn't really act on it, and they made noise, so Maryville was able to rotate over, set up the stack, and with the toxic orb and that shotgun, it's pretty trivial. So yeah, a good setup, great way to get the half started once again for Maryville here, as they look to be just a little more disciplined. The confidence game is starting to wane just a little bit.
Sure,
you still see North American players doing North American player things, but I think everyone's gotten their feet in the water at this point and understood, you know, how much they're going to be able to get away with.
Yeah. The other important note, and this is something that I think does merit a bit of a conversation, is that both teams are now on their stronger halves on the one play time that they've had on this map so far this stage. It was a 10-2 offensive half against Nightblood for Maryville, but only a 13-11 win. Whereas for Winthrop, they beat YFP 13-10, but had 8 rounds on defense. So 6 of one, half a dozen of another. The old adage of the unstoppable force meets the immovable object, so to speak. So I like that we have a tie game here, and again, pretty much true bonus for Maryville to try to work with.
If there's one thing we know about this match is that it'll go the distance.
Put your house on it?
That your car on Tier 2 Valorant?
Careful. a little topically relevant.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Relevant. Oh, that's a brilliant wall for
That's
Cloric.
awesome.
So he's able to get the isolation on the one with the judge. Winthrop not going to be paused, though, trying to still force it. And honestly, Maryville's like, come on into our web. Yeah, that's just a perfect breakdown. Great micro play from Cloric. And now it's just down to Moobs, who is stuck shooting at a couple of different things at once. And that's a flawless bonus. And uh-oh, Maryville about ready to crack the code here on map number 1.
Yeah, there were like welcome mats on that site too. Maryville was inviting the fight in, being the bonus. They were fully ready for it, and they absolutely dominated. Winthrop clearly not coming with enough firepower for that round. Tough start, obviously, with the sheer. It's such a terrific setup to just immediately gain the step ladder up. And the spike as well. The fact that it was Governor that let that get stranded, you immediately start getting the stack over there. That was, yeah, perfectly orchestrated by MU, and a real chance to take this game away nice and early.
Well, opening shot from Ollie is good. This is what Winthrop does.
Did you walk through a smoke for that?
It sure felt that way.
Yeah.
Prowler to figure out some action at mid. Doesn't really see too much. So now you start to get a little bit of development for Winthrop over towards A. But Giza clears out the lurker at B. Can start to get the rotation back over. Good fast lane for Maryville to try to stop the inevitable hit. Relay bolt to follow. Maryville in a little bit of trouble here on the corner, but the weapon's just far too superior. Shoot through the wall all you'd like. You are now trapped. Can they find a way to double swing this, triple swing this? Yeah, eventually, but that's not a favorable trade. It does give Glyph an out and a weapon, though, to play the 1v3.
And 45 seconds, too, so he can trollops kind of wherever he pleases. But he's going to make that mad dash over to B. He knows he has to outrun Ren's first, and him being only 30 HP, if it devolves into just that 1v1, he can still actually have a really decent shot at this.
Possible?
No.
Not anymore. Too much to deal with. So Maryville will keep on their winning ways here on the defense. First major lead since the opening 2 rounds, which means it's a tally of 2. Winthrop will be in a position to purchase, though, and we're going to start, again, dealing with some of our early ultimates as the Steel Garden is really close here for Cloric.
Yeah, Maryville already heavily denial geared, and I imagine the ultimates are going to do the same thing, just continue playing keep away and interrupting pushes that Winthrop goes for, just the immense amount of firepower and utility that they use when they actually go for these swings. It's so deadly when you're standing in front of it, and it's made these rounds, even that previous one, kind of close. But if Maryville are able to put a couple speed bumps in there, it looks so much weaker. And on top of that, if they make this read off the jump for the B site, oh goodness.
Well, there it is. Winthrop, a little bit of crossfire setup. Defense trying to assert some aggression. Not going to happen there. The pushback does at least occur. Governor is low, but regardless of that, it's a 5v4 in favor of Winthrop. And you would figure this is about the time where Ali will try to establish some pressure on the lurk. See if they can create enough noise to force the defense to reconsider.
About that time. Gotta try and get this lean from Ange fully committed. Oh, unless you're gonna rotate the spike over here and just full send on a fight. Yeah, they'll keep moves implanted here. This feels very improvisational, and Maryville are gonna meet this in the middle.
The thing about this little rotation for Maryville is they could kind of cut off this separation and possibly give Chloric a chance, especially off the Vice wall and the Razorfine in front of them. You don't have a paranoia from Ange, but you do have the ability to supply a dark cover once the hit starts to come through. So we'll see how this starts to go. A little bit of, again, split decision here for Winthrop. They're going to fake the fast lane, relay bolt as well. And they will, of course, notice that Moves is by himself at B. Spike will be picked up, and Infiltrator will find not just one, but two, which will pretty much mean that this will be an 8th round for Winthrop.
Enemy remaining.
That was very well done. Across all straights from Winthrop. You saw they were definitely a little scared for a moment because they realized Glyph was going to be the one that had to lay back, which meant you didn't have as much immediacy in taking over and overwhelming Chloric the way that I would imagine Winthrop wants to. But you just adjust off of that the second that you notice the stack is leaning back in towards the A pinch, which Glyph was able to alert the rest of the team to. Get that TP over to B, get that spike. You already have Moobs, who has walked up most of the site, fully cleared it out. That's just terrifically handled. And now you have your economy almost fully back in tow, ults included, restabilization round. Definitely for the books.
Well, recon bolt thrown in for Winthrop, trying to get some early control at mid, or at least give the intention that that's the play. But the op is out for Ange, who's currently playing over towards A elbow. A little bit of noise from Ali. Moves likely to do something similar over towards B as a smoke will get replenished at mid. So again, Winthrop just kind of keep the focus spread. Not really to any concern of Maryville at the moment, though.
It's all for monitoring, and Maryville are willing to respect it. Friends will have to toss out this relay bolt, though, to stall. Because again, this weakest opening requires so much extra attention paid to it, especially as that clock starts ticking. But now the smoke tossed up into A-Link, and no one from MU here. Already a crucial couple seconds where Winthrop can play with that guessing game.
Where do you go from here is the question if you're Winthrop. Because with 35 seconds, trying to work through mid around the back doesn't really work. The defense for Maryville at B hasn't really been moved much, although Giza now will fall. Paranoia will push one back from the shadows. That'll get Ange into the play a little bit sooner, but not enough to stop the spike. So this is going to be waiting for Zerona to get back, who has a Prowler and a C still available. But this is going to take time, and you still have to clear out this cut at B.
Yeah, Maryville didn't realize how quickly Winthrop could get on here. They're not ready to react to it, so they've got to dip a little bit more into it. Very committal retake about to happen.
There's the fast lane. Isolation over towards the left side of the site. Doesn't really work out, though. Winthrop for a couple. Steel Garden called into the middle of the battle. Zerona now has to be forced into the shorty. 1v2, and the angle and the distance for this is not ideal. Time's going to be really close to running out, and it's a little high-low stack to make matters worse. Winthrop, tie us back up at 9. That's a big round, as it looks like, for the most part, Maryville will still be able to purchase, but it won't be maybe with full confidence.
Winthrop getting a foot in the door, and rather than busting it open, they just snake in the little crack that they were open and close that door right behind them. That's a huge pick to start out from Moobs on the front. As soon as that screen goes down, divert the attention for half a second and you've gotten that opening kill, and boom, he's TP'd in, you've ran in, you've gotten 2 down, and you haven't even used your relay bolt to fully commit to that fight.
Cover going out.
again, perfect timing, great collaboration coming from Winthrop to tie us back up here at 9. Now 0 B presence, just that sheer.
Renz baited with the op to start. Overdrive out, fast lane to follow. But Maryville have backed up and have really slowed things down by way of that haunt. Brilliant recovery and reaction for Maryville's defense through A elbow. Now has just Glyph and Ollie by themselves. And they really don't have much room to work with. Renz, the perfect timing on the double scope and almost finesses for another. Ollie will punish for a moment, but you would think the lifeline on his play is running out, and it will be. Maryville back into the advantage, up to 10.
It was a great idea that Winthrop had for the push. He saw the light bulb go off in Infiltrator's head, and again, Winthrop able to follow suit so quickly off rip there, but as soon as they dive into this Viper, into this orb, they're stopped. The back of the push is just, it's got nothing. And Infiltrator has no one to play with. 2 players still coming from mid. Just no part of that push is strong enough, and Maryville able to chomp off all the weakest bits first individually and play for themselves. Again, showing that they are that leg up. Now 1 round up here and trying to finish off this map that they chose.
Deep Razorvine here for Winthrop. We'll have Zerona in a bit of trouble considering the Nightfall going to commit for it. And wow, what a peek that is. Zerona's going to find
off
3.
Of himself.
Unbelievable. I mean, there was a little bit of help from Renz, if you want to call it that, but with the op, no angles, really not able to spam things down. So that is a 1v3, essentially. Give it to Zerona, and Maryville's looking good for 11.
Just a bite so much bigger than the bark. Maryville continuing to find ways to completely quash the noise that Winthrop has tried to make. Early bit of the half, the individuality was reigning, pressing at different gates, forcing Maryville to continue checking their 6s, get a couple rounds. Maryville deconditioned that. They double down on the stacks. They read properly into rotations. They take care of the weakest bits first. That what does Winthrop do? They restack up. They try to go for the pure firefights. They try and go for those util dumps that work oh so well when they work directly behind Infiltrator. What does Maryville do? You send one guy out with an ultimate, and he lights it up.
It's a bold call. It really is. I mean, that very well may have missed everything, but that's the risk met with the reward this time around. So we're going to get 11-9. Ollie moves able to save. Everyone else, maybe Infiltrator could purchase something to bring to the party, but everyone else is going to be on pretty limited purchase. So Maryville's probably looking at this saying we should be good for 12. Now, again, that's not a guarantee, especially with Winthrop finding an extra elimination here on the outside. If you get one more, oof, maybe not quite the case. So maybe enough to afford someone else, but largely speaking, again, this is starting late in the game to favor Maryville, and all is because of this play from Zerona.
And this is the moment, this is the point where you can not really rely on the point in which you can find a recovery round. That window's starting to close. This might be Winthrop's only chance to hold on to it. Ollie, the pressure to find a place to let this Viper's pit down to guarantee a round, so immense. But Winthrop, they'll go window shopping here in mid in response. Maryville, big press up with that paranoia down B main just to scare moves away. Have a good idea that he's there.
Well, this is Winthrop saying, now we can play that mid play. Nightfall's not here. We can try for this again. But Zerona's still playing a little bit further up on the backside of stairs. Steel guard now, really good prowler. Moves is still able to go in for one. That's not bad. Winthrop can try to come back and see if they can take the battle over at mid. They're kind of forced to. Viper's Pit also creates an exit if Winthrop want it, but instead they're going to stand and hold their ground. May work out as trades continue to keep us into a 3v2.
That's such a good fork now, because now you've walled away Chloric and you've been able to basically exercise whichever fight you want to first. Of course, you're not entirely sure of where Giz is headed to at this point, and Chloric, I mean, any wanton shot can really make a mess of this round for Winthrop, but we'll inch on in. Giza, in he goes as well.
Have to try for something. Timing could be good on the Infiltrator if he goes back into the smoke. Not the case. Timing here is all right, though. 1 for 1. Chloric, understanding that he's got an opportunity right in front of him, spams it out, finds one, avoids the snake bite. So now it's just down to, can you hit the shots? Ollie still inside the green goo. Now pushing up, but doesn't expect Chloric to be in the corner. I think Ollie thought that snakebite got there. Not the case. And Winthrop will find a round. Really, again, it looked like a guarantee. Go astray, and Maryville's on map point.
Beyond crucial save there from Maryville University. Again, just getting ahead of that finish line. As the spike gets dropped, they're right in front of the screen. They can't spray through, but they know the stack is so close. Pressing in, turning it to that 1v2, and that one spray from Chloric was just everything. Poor Ali. Pushing just a little downstream. And that Viper's Pit was so integral as well. Perfectly placed to isolate these fights. But the onus was still on Winthrop to make that offensive choice, still plant that spike down in Maryville. They get the team stack back out. They have some semblance of a backstab. They manufacture a fight and a win. And now they have a pit themselves. Ren's with the overdrive as well. The bank is spilling here for Maryville as they got 3 rounds of game point.
Oh, man, that had to have been a situation where Ollie thinks that snakebite gets all the way into that back corner.
Yeah.
So he doesn't bother to clear it, but it's just a touch short. So now you've got a situation on your hands where Winthrop will be at full purchase, but 3 rounds in a row against some adversity, like you mentioned, with the ultimates that are in hand right now for Maryville University. Little recap of the replays to what we've seen to this point. And that's a big one right there. I mean, again, Giza just able to find one, and just like this map had started, Chloric able to get another through the smoke, and Moobs cannot believe it.
Hunting thorns.
Such a tough call at this point from Winthrop because their recognition has also been very on point. Very quick to the punch. Moves has always been a little earlier than Maryville expects. And now he's got help here on the B stack with no one pressing in. Just that operator from Ren's.
Oof. Okay. That's a serviceable trade for Winthrop. Hit out for Giza. Largely that was just essential bait for Winthrop to see if they could pull it. Oh, and they find Giza. How about a little VAC blessings of their own? Finally, I'm sure Winthrop are saying, like, we've been spamming to the smoke just as much as they have. So 4v3. And now the world is your oyster. Although, to be fair, this is a brilliant step up for Zerona to re-clear B and maybe give Ange an opportunity to cut off this play from behind.
Oh, he's got so much ground already.
Not quite. So now it's just down to how long can Chloric stave off this inevitable hit.
30 seconds.
Oh, it's going to wait a little bit longer. Good Arc Rose flash, but Infiltrator punishes before the gun can come up for Chloric. So now it's on to Zerona. Well, this 1v4 from a pretty predictable spot would be difficult. Getting information onto one, but the Paranoia will push him back just a touch. Still has a seize available, but the snakebite encompasses that choke point, and that will likely mean Winthrop will get 10.
Certainly worth it for Zerona to try and find one more kill here, but he will not. As I was some really good isolation found out from Winthrop, of course, finding that kill in the snake, in the Viper's Pit was just everything. After the op trade away occurred, you feel enough pressure on the B site for Winthrop to just have full control of that map again. Out of absolutely nowhere. That is preposterous from Infiltrator.
Yeah.
But it is something you'll absolutely take, and something that you should know to do at that point. You know how condensed the pit is in that moment. You understand how good of a chance you have at least doing some damage, and Infiltrator did a hell of a lot of damage there. Again, tables turned back. Winthrop on the precipice of integral ultimates. You have the economy to last as well. You can scrape by to OT here.
Could happen. Very well could happen. An expensive round for Maryville now has them playing a little bit more reserved across the board. Ange will not be seen by this Aldrin. He's going to give this a look. Sees a shoulder from Infiltrator, relay bolt out. That's an early Paranoia bait out, though, if you're Winthrop. Zerona showing the Odin at mid, but largely Winthrop have already crossed, so there is a chance that they could try to burst.
Feels appropriate, given you still have all of this opening util available. Paranoia is still free. Bite still free to flush. Stuck on the boxes. Have so much of A here, you just gotta overwhelm.
We've seen this before, though. This time the wall gets procced with no push-up initially. Doesn't make a difference. Chloric still able to get the judge out. Trade is there, and then the follow-up for Winthrop just overwhelms the defense of Maryville on the A site. Plant will come through. Giza and Ren's decision to make here, 2v4 with one of the two holding an operator, would likely lead you to believe that they're going to try to save this thing and try to get this thing done next round.
Yeah, that's at the point they're at. Great call from Winthrop to just bite the bullet and use that Hunter's Fury, fully split the board and make sure that this A site is overwhelmed. As weak as it's continuously been, Maryville have been able to stifle so much of the work that's done on top of intel so that follow-up fights are impossible to read. And so if Winthrop can make this first fight so deadly, so overpowering, that Maryville is forced to this position, then it's exactly where they want to be. Fine to let go of that at this point. They have the creds to work into this final round of regulation, which we may very well cross-shift as both sides have had hero moments and friendship moments alike. It's tough to say who's playing more as a team at this point. I think that the synergy is really starting to show.
There's also a level of, again, kind of like the first half had started to develop. Winthrop is just not getting caught off weird angles or weird moments in the first 45 seconds now.
Yeah.
At least they haven't in the last 2 rounds. Might be an opportunity for something wild here, though. Ren's looking, they want to get aggressive. Utility is being held, though, by Winthrop. Shock dart bouncing around. Not terribly placed, all things told, but doesn't affect Ren's angle. Is there going to be any sort of a peak here? Overdrive out. That'll be enough for first blood. And now numbers for Winthrop as they have a chance to try to take over the middle of the map and possibly flood to Angie's direction on A, but they see him and say, let's wait a moment. From the shadows, checks his position, and that will be enough for Winthrop to back off and play the numbers advantage.
So gutsy of Ren's to be up that close, especially with the overdrive intact. He has no way of getting that reaction time up when you know that Infiltrator is going to be the first one sliding in. That's pretty free for Winthrop, and now that operator in too vulnerable a spot for Maryville to reliably take back. So they are planted. Feet are rooted. Winthrop, pick of the litter with entries.
Arc Rose to play off here if you're Giza.
My ultimate's ready. Adapt!
Steel Garden, though, at the ready, going to push off the B site. And how about it? Giza able to find 2. Well served.
30 seconds left.
Governor wants to plant. Oh, and you just would not expect this from Ali. Yeah, takes advantage. Governor finds one more on the backside of the site, and it leaves it to Chloric. It's a 1v3 or overtime, and we're going to get overtime. How about this matchup in map number 1?
Whew, wow, terrifically working off of advantage to the letter there from Winthrop University. Just taking every ounce that you can with it. Making sure that that was as safely taken care of as possible on their weaker site, especially after Giza got that disgusting opening too. Again, terrific slowdown, very dangerous for Winthrop University, for sure. But you have enough. You still have a 3v3 at the end of the day after that's traded away. And with the Steel Garden, also just saying no thank you to the engagement apart from that. Go ahead and stick Ollie in the middle for a little longer. See what you can get away with.
Yeah.
Glass cannon for Infiltrator.
Yep, I was about to say. You want to talk about him feeling confident today? Oh, and the Arc Rose gets destroyed immediately. Infiltrator will have a chance to hold this angle a little bit longer. Prowler, again, shut down. But the Paranoia connects. Relay Bolt being tossed in. Infiltrator not necessarily infected by it. Moves on the way, though, over to find a 1. Giza trading things back into Maryville's numbers. But Governor, another little transfer, almost takes down the entirety of Maryville, but it's only damage tallied. Giza, Ren's down to below half HP as Glyph and Ollie try to work the 2v2. How about now a 2v1? Just down to Chloric. Gets information onto 1. Glyph searching from the high ground. Able to see it, but Chloric still hits the headshot to the 1v1 with Ali. Oh, and Ali just pushes up, takes the vanilla off angle, and takes the opening overtime round for Winthrop.
The weaker forces of Maryville continuously forced to be the ones that extend first, and it leads Winthrop to easier fights as they go. Sure, they had Giza once again stop-gapping him, but that was after so much was used to flush Infiltrator's operator out. And even then, Infiltrator was able to slide into the double up that he already had with moves that they were able to turn into one. And Governor planted as that next leg of the race. Again, Winthrop is always going to be there. From there, the health pool is dealt with. Governor's done his job. You're able to take the individual fights. And again, with such little time to be able to reliably plant that spike, you have to have your strongest person there on top. Easier fights with the lower health pools lead Winthrop to an early advantage in that 2v1. And now they're sitting on game point.
Well, this could be huge. Again, this is Maryville's map pick. Both teams have only played it once so far in the Swiss stage. Both teams finding narrow wins. Can Maryville respond on the defense? Feeling the pressure at mid. You can't even commentate that. Infiltrator follows up for one. Zerona affected by the relay bolt on the trade. Governor feeling like maybe they can get the numbers back to even, but not going to happen. Ooh, but Giza may have given up the angle at the wrong moment. Moobs knows that Giza's playing in this corner. Just comes down to the timing if there is a reach out on this angle.
Giza deny invincible from this corner to start. And with only moves here, this is so rough, but oh, the gun timing may screw him over. Now it's Moves who's just gotta play Plants vs. Zombies for a second. The waves are coming, and there's your first one, Zerona, too much to clear.
Wow. The Prowler doesn't get to where it's intended to go. It was queued up before the action really unfolded, so now you've got a plant situation. 2v3, trying to retake his Maryville, and Ali is playing at mid-map. No noise given yet, though, by these two defenders. So Ali becomes more and more out of the picture. And we develop further and further into the 2v2. Governor, first one to check, sees the shot. There's the flank from Ali, who wins it. And Winthrop strikes first on Maryville's map. Only took 2 rounds overtime, but a huge advantage for the lower seed in our opening playoff match.